So, I'd like to introduce myself to the class, the English 291 composition course. My name's Rick Liebeck. I'm an assistant professor at St. Cloud State. I've been here for, this is just my second year. I live in Mankato, Minnesota, and commute to St. Cloud, so it takes me a couple of hours to drive for my teaching. But I really enjoy the job. I've had a great time at St. Cloud so far. I'm in English education, so my principal task is to teach students who are training to be English language arts teachers in the schools for grades 5 through 12. So I've got a lot of experience teaching literature and writing, both in 512 settings and at the university level. I just completed my PhD a few years ago at the University of Minnesota in the Twin Cities. And so I'm really pleased to be your professor this semester. And now that I think I've gotten all of the materials uploaded to D2L, I thought I would make a little introductory statement for everybody, and talk a little bit about the syllabus and about some of the things I have in place to communicate, so that you don't miss any deadlines and that you're getting the ideas that you need to be able to develop good papers. So and that's challenging in an asynchronous online format, I know. So I just wanted to talk a little bit at you, and maybe explain some things that might get overlooked on the syllabus. So anyway, the syllabus is there. It's like 6 or 7 pages, something like 7 pages. And so I'm not going to read over it or anything, but I just want to point out that Bruce Ballinger's text, The Curious Researcher, is what you need, okay? I have the first week's reading available on a PDF. If some people still need to buy a little time, right? You can look at that to do your first reading assignment and contribution to the class discussion. The discussion topic is now up and ready for your contribution to it. So anyway, the course is essentially broken up into two parts. There's an annotated bibliography that you write between now and midterm. That is going to be comprised of four summaries of four peer-reviewed academic articles that you find from academic journals, right? So uh, I'll post some information about how to do library search and how to find the right kinds of academic articles. But for now, looking on the university's library site and going to journals, or going to article databases, the article databases link, and starting with keywords through that to find some peer-reviewed academic articles. Um, Also, you can go through Google Scholar and do that kind of work, but first things first, anyway, generating uh, exciting research topics for yourself and then doing the search, right? So we have a few weeks till um, we get to those summaries. But for now, anyway, just in thinking broad terms, the first half is this annotated bibliography of four journal articles that you read and summarize, and you'll put all that together into one document. Okay, and then the second half of the course has to do with the research paper. That can be based on the research that you do for the annotated bibliography. In a perfect world, that would be the case. You know exactly what you want to research and write about. You'd do a bibliography on it. Then you would do the lengthy um, research paper for the end, all on the same topic. But some people like to switch topics, or, as they're looking at the academic journal articles in the first half of the course and writing their summaries, they realize there's something else there that they'd rather pursue. Okay? Either that they're finding in those articles or something else that pops up. It's okay to switch topics and do the annotated bibliography on one topic with four articles centered around one topic, and then later in the semester switching topics altogether, but still doing more research for that, right, in a different direction. That's totally okay. So they can be the same for both of those, or they can be separate topics. It's fine for me. Um, so the assignment sheets for all of that stuff that I'm talking about are under that module in D2L. If you navigate to content and then select the syllabus and assignment sheets module, you'll be able to see descriptions of everything that's required and my grading criteria for every assignment, and basically what to do. So I'll be posting as we go along some things to help you along too, right? For writing good summaries, how to do proper citations and things like that. So look in those weekly modules, week 1, week 2, week 3. There's nothing in them right now, but I'll be periodically putting things in there and letting people know when I've updated content. So anyway, getting to the, I'm just looking at my syllabus papers here right now and just thinking about big things. I have this thing called a précis. You'll see starting in week 4, précis number 1 is due. Then précis number 2 is due the next week. Those are 1-paragraph summaries, but they're kind of lengthy paragraph summaries of an academic journal article. Then in week 6, there's annotated bibliography rough draft due. That will have a 3rd précis in it, so read the assignment sheet for that assignment very carefully. And then week 7, the annotated bibliography is due in full. That's the final draft. That will have 4 summaries, 4 précis, okay? So read that very carefully in the assignment sheets. Along the way, we have discussion topics based on readings, and they're also just based on developing ideas for research. Like, so right now in the first week it's like broad terms, then it's about narrowing our focus for research, and then once we get into content of your writing, right, and research, then the discussion topics will change a little bit to more specific kind of writing tasks to do, like how to paraphrase, how to analyze things closely. You'll see those when they come up anyway, and that's on down the road. There's a research paper proposal in week 9 where you just have to write a paragraph about what work you're going to select to analyze for your final paper. I have a paragraph about that in after the list of assignments on page 3 of, let's see, no, wait. Have I moved it? I've moved it somewhere. I've moved it to page 2 of the syllabus where it's the required texts for your reading. So there's Ballinger, the Curious Researcher, and then there's one instructor-approved work that you select as the basis for your critical research paper. So that can be a novel. It can be a book of nonfiction, like a history or some kind of book about, like, whatever you want to research, global warming, right? Mass incarceration. Those have been like popular topics in the last couple of years. And so this can also be a film, right? It doesn't have to be a book. It doesn't have to be a novel. It can be a film, but it has to be feature length. So I don't want short documentaries or anything like that. I want it to be a substantive book or a feature-length film. People can also pick things like art exhibits as a work to analyze. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a book or a film, although those things are the most commonly written about works, right? But it can also be something else, but it has to be so like if it was an art exhibit, I would want it to be like a special exhibit by a specific artist who's got like 5 or 6 important images that you could analyze many things, right? Something big, not just like one photograph or something like that, right? I've had somebody write on the work of a graffiti artist, for example, and that person located articles written about this person, and then also had many images of this person's graffiti to analyze. Like that could be acceptable, but you would have to write that up in a proposal um, and submit it to me, and then I would okay it or not, or tell you how to expand it or something like that. So anyway, there's that. So read that paragraph about the work, selecting a work very carefully, because that plays a major role in how the second half of the course goes for you in developing a substantive research paper. That final paper, as it says in the assignment sheet, needs to be approximately 4,000 words. That comes out to roughly like a 12 to 15 page paper. Okay, so there's going to be a lot that goes into that that I'll talk about later on in the semester, right? Like building context, why is this topic important, and then going into explain the work, and then you go dig deep into the work, like passages and excerpts from it, and analyze what's going on in the work, not just telling about it, but showing what the work does and thinking deeply about what its meaning is, right? And so reading Ballinger closely will help you with developing those ideas along the course of the semester. So there's, anyway, for major assignments, there's the D2L discussion topics that starts right away this week. The deadlines for those discussion topics and pretty much everything else happen on Friday nights, Friday at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so you know what all the assignments are now, right? So you have the weekends to work on them too between now and then and everything. So Friday night's kind of a tough deadline, but everything's well in advance. And if you look at the syllabus materials closely, you'll see everything that's required of you this semester, and so you can get to work on it right away, right? Um, so anyway, a couple of things, last things I wanted to say that could be overlooked in the syllabus materials. Every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, I'm going to be online for chat. That's where you can just ask any questions, and other people can be in on the chat and chime in, right? And just ask questions about the course. This is all typing, right? This is all text chatting through D2L. So if you go to D2L and you go to communications, you'll have the drop down. You can go to chats, right? If you do that at Tuesday at 2 p.m., I'll be on for an hour and available to you. One thing I didn't mention along these lines in the syllabus is I'm going to set up another discussion forum for class business. And that's going to be the title of both the forum and the topic, class business. So instead of emailing me questions that the whole class could benefit from, I'm going to ask you to go to the class business and ask a question there. Okay? And then you can email me. That's okay too. But if you feel like there's an issue that the whole class could benefit from, put it there. You'll have to start it as like a thread, okay? The thread could be about like how do I write a thorough précis for précis number 1. If you start that thread there, I'll answer you usually within a 48-hour period. It depends on when it's posted, but usually within a 48-hour period. But then other people can chime in too who have ideas, right? So this is not just a question and answer for the professor, right? But a place where you all can help each other with class business too, right? So I'll put up the discussion forum for class business this evening, and then you can go there anytime and put stuff up and see what other people are saying. And then I'll log in every now and then and see, oh, there's some new threads that are up, or some new replies they haven't seen, and I'll help sort things out or give some ideas, whatever needs to be done there. And that so that could be a place for you guys to chat with each other. Okay. And so between now and Tuesday on chat, and then seeing things in that class business Forum. I think I really don't have a whole lot more to say right now, and I'll just take things as they come, right? Um, and so I hope this course is helpful for you. I'm wide open as in terms of topics that you can write about, with the caveat that it has to be academic, because this is what we're about, right? So this isn't about, what you might commonly see online as like argumentation and chatter there, but for the curious, a course like for writing good research papers, which is a different genre than that, okay, and it's a different forum than that. This is about being curious, reflective, and open, okay, and not afraid to take some risks in your writing, but wanting always to become smarter about what it is you're taking up, whatever it is. These can be personal, introspective papers that are also researched. Okay, they can be that, and you'll see that early on in Ballinger's book. Um, we don't read this right away in the first week, but in the second week, I think I've got it in his introduction, pages 12 and 13. You'll see this piece that he writes, Theories of Intelligence, where he talks about his life, writes in first person, and talks about how his ideas about what it means to be smart and intelligent, where those came from and how they were changed as he grew up, and his relationship with his dad, and his going into the field of English as a professor and everything, and how he, has a looser, more fluid kind of idea about what intelligence means and everything, now that he realizes a late, I don't know, as he got older anyway, that he didn't know everything, and that was okay, right? That's like a researched piece, and it's an introspective first person piece. Your final paper can be like that. You can write your own life in, right? Um, at the same time, as a lot of other professors sometimes expect, you can just do your research and state the facts too, right? So as long as there's analysis and interpretation in it, that's okay, right? I still want deep thinking in those kinds of papers too. So it's wide open. I'm really looking forward to the ideas that come up in this first round of idea generation that exercise 1.1 puts you through in Ballinger. Looking forward to reading the outcome of that in this first discussion topic that's due Friday night. I'm not in those discussion topics. I'm not going to respond to everybody. I sometimes might chime in, but basically what I'm going to do from because I can't respond to everybody in that. Where I feel like I've got an idea that's going to help somebody out or something like that, I will chime in, but I'm not going to like evaluate people through written feedback in those discussion topics, okay? And so if I respond to some people and not others, please don't read anything into that. If I don't respond to yours, it's not like a negative thing. If I do respond, it's not like, on the other side of the coin, it's not like proof that you're getting an A plus. It's not like that. It's more just about exchanging ideas, okay? And so I'll look for little places where I can add in something that I think is going to helpful, but I'm going to be careful not to write evaluative language into anything I write. In, like I might say, oh yeah, this is a great idea, and that's a little bit evaluative, but please don't read anything that I write in those discussion topics as somehow like indicative of what grade you're going to get or something like that. It's simply a place for sharing ideas, and all I'm looking for in those discussion topics is just that you fulfill the requirement of writing approximately 200 words in your initial post, and then responding to other people in like collegial ways. And you'll see those instructions both in the assignment sheet and in when you open the discussion topic too, right? the discussion forum has instructions for that criteria. So anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna post this and see if I can share it with everybody this evening, and contact everybody to let you know that the course is up and running. So good luck, everybody. Looking forward to reading about you and looking at your work and everything. So have a great semester.